What is a database? So what is a database? Let's start by using an example that you might be familiar with. So how many of these websites have you used before? You might have used Facebook, eBay, or any online shop, such as a shoe store like Zappos. All of these websites contain data, and this data needs to be stored somewhere, such as information about your activities, products that can be sold, and sales history. So how is this data all stored? It's stored in something called a database. So a database is a place to store information. For example, if you had a shoe store, the shoe store would have a database. This database would contain information about shoe stock, customers, suppliers, and orders. A database is a way to store data in a structure that can be easily viewed and edited, and it works kind of like a big series of Excel worksheets. And this is how all of the tables fit together in the database. So how does SQL fit into the database? SQL allows you to connect all the different pieces of data in the database and structure it into the output that you need, whether it's for a report that you're running, some data you're extracting, or a website that you're building. So how do websites access the data that they need? Websites have databases attached to them. The first step is you, as a user, you enter the address for a website, such as www.zappos.com, or the address of your shoe store. Next, the web page starts to display. At this point, it can load some information from the database, such as headings, image names, and product names. This data is then loaded from the database and then displayed back to the user. So why would you need to use a database? Well, the data needs to be stored somewhere. When you're working on your computer, how do you save your data? Do you save it in a text file, Word document, or Excel spreadsheet? Databases are used because they are efficient, they are standardized, and they make great use of space. So why would we use a database? It's actually the best way for computers to save and read data that it stores. Text files and spreadsheets that we've mentioned are not the best way to save the data. Databases are also easy for people to read the data, and this is what SQL is used for. It's used for accessing data in the database, and we will explain more about this in a later video. This diagram shows a high-level overview of how users can work with a database. The database is the big box to the bottom right, and it has many tables in it, as you can see. On the left, there is a blue circle labelled App User. This is someone who might be using an app on their phone or on their computer. They perform a specific function in the app, such as logging in or opening a screen. The app will then perform a query on the database to get what it needs, and then the app processes and displays the result. We also have a website user on the bottom left in the blue circle as well. They interact with the database in a similar way. They perform a function on a website, such as logging in or viewing a product page like we saw in the earlier example. The database gets the results that the website needs and then displays it to the user. Now, at the top of this diagram in the green circle is the developer. This is where you and I fit into the database. We as a developer will run SQL queries on the database, and then we will view the results from the database. So that's how the database fits into the role of an app or a website user and a developer, and how each of them use it. Now, let's see what makes up a database.